and I'm tired of it over and over, but I'm gonna keep on fighting.
Rosalind Temple's son was murdered in 2011. His case still hasn't been solved. Out of that tragedy, she formed Mothers in Charge, an advocacy group that supports families.
I just give him a hug and say that I understand. You know, I'm living it. It became my life.
Temple has now been to hundreds of crime scenes.
Kansas City, wake up. We'll have about 12 women killed this year.
Much of her work is behind the scenes as she supports families broken by violence.
And I'm tired of it.
Okay, so that there was KCTV5's Josh Jackson as he highlighted Rosalind Temple during our Black History Month segment. She is the founder and program director for KC Mothers in Charge. And right now we are actually joined by Rosalind herself. Rosalind, I want to say thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk. It is a pleasure to finally meet you here virtually. I know I mentioned that to you earlier.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. And I do just want to focus strictly on you and what you all are doing for the community. Now, I know you mentioned before to KCTV5 that when you lost your son, you needed someone, and now you're supporting families that are broken by violence. So you go to these sites and you said that you hug them, you're there for them. Explain what else KC Mothers in Charge does for the community.
We support the families, you know, especially when I'm at the scenes, you know, I'm there in the worst time that half the time the families don't know what has occurred. I'm there when, like I said, they don't know what happened. I'm standing the gap for the families. But when the families are out there, I'm there to support them, to walk them through the process. The liaison, so the police department, they can't tell you who that person is, but I can make sure that family is noticed. And they can get the information from them. I mean, once they do the next of kin, the posse ID, they'd be able to contact their family, their loved ones. But also, just that love I needed someone in 2011 when it wasn't no one there for me. I just thought that I just knew in my heart that I had to be there for the next family that was going to be victimized by homicide in our community. Also, after the fact, after a homicide has occurred, I sit at the funeral home table, be the liaison with the family and the funeral home directors to walk them through the process, even when they want a posse ID their loved one once they get to the funeral home, because they can't see them until they get to the funeral home of their choice. So I'm there to help them to view and to give them tissue, even pray with them before we walk back there, just to make sure, especially as a mom, I had an out-of-body experience, and you have an out-of-body experience, you know, you don't remember anything once everything is over, the funeral process. You don't remember who was there. So I just remember that. So to be there for their mom, their dad, their grandmother, just that process is so hard. We even take food, do home visits with the process of before the funeral home. We take a hot meal to the homes. And we would take toiletry, you know, toilet paper, paper towels, some water. Because when you lose your child or loved one, you don't have no strength to get them cooking. You might have other children around. So make sure they be able to eat something, be able to, even the mother gets something on her stomach, you know, because you need the strength. We even there for doing a visual celebration of life. I will support that. I will host that. I will do that for the family. Because we don't release balloons, but we give something special, a philodendron plant, because they keep growing, they never die. So it's your loved one, you're taking care of your loved one through that process. But it's so much we do here at KC Mothers in Charge. I even go through the process of the funeral, of the court process, to make sure they connect with the detective. They know, get to meet the detective, build a relationship, you know, because you can call the phone, but sometimes we get angry because the police department detectives might not be calling me back. They have so many victims that they have come upon us. Our community is so angry. So I make sure that I set up meetings where they go in person to meet their detective to build a relationship.
Right. And so you bring up words like strength, and you all really serve as an emotional support for the community, sounds like. How many mothers, how many women are involved in this organization?
Right now I call them my core mothers, and I have 8 mothers that does the work with me. They help me do the work in the community. We go down to the prisons. We speak and we tell our story. We don't have to their story. We go speak at the prison. We've been going to Crossroad Cameron since 2015. So I'm constantly down in the prison. We go to Leavenworth Federal Prison. We go to treatment center. We go anywhere else. So these mothers help me do the work in the community when we are canvassing, talking about the violence in our community. When we speaking at churches or at different events, these mothers.
For sure. And so, Rosalynn, as you know, we're dealing with gun violence, we're dealing with crime, not only here locally, there's an uptick, but also nationally across the country. And so with that being said, I do want to go through a few examples to just kind of give our viewers just some knowledge on just how serious it has been here lately, especially during the year of 2023. I know that has been one of your main goals for KC Mothers in Charge, is to really put this in action on trying to curb that violence. But take a look at this video as I give you all the latest data. So July 4th accounted for the most mass shootings of any other days of the year in nearly a decade. That is according to the Gun Violence Archives. And recent violence here locally, police found a woman who was shot and killed inside of a home. This was just overnight. They also found a man dead in a business parking lot yesterday, and there was a mass shooting at Climax Lounge in May. Those new charges were just released on Friday. So with all of that being said, I know that KCPD reported as of today, there are 105 homicides so far this year. 2 more have been added just within the last 24 hours. So with all of that being said, Rosalynn, I know your goal as an organization, but how does this make you feel to hear all of that data coming in just for 2023 alone?
I've been going to homicide scene for 10 years now. When the sergeant murder squad get the call, they call me, I respond with KCPD, the homicide squads. It makes me sad, but I can feel this, the feel on our community that it's going to be a bad year. I said it earlier in the year, I can tell the violence got so bad, the violence just so bad. I remember we left our last year 169, the year before 151, and the year before the last 20 was 176. So I can feel the feel. I can just see the era in my community. I live right in the inner city, how the guns is not a problem. How people have these young people walk around with guns. The guns I have never seen in my life. I know these guns don't belong in our communities. These are assault rifles. You see how families just don't get along. It's just like a black cloud over Kansas City that it is going to be one of the worst this year. And I said it early on in the year.
Yeah, and I know that we ended the year on a high number last year as far as homicides are concerned. Now, Rosalynn, I do want to go back to you and focus on you and what started KC Mothers in Charge. Your son was murdered back in 2011, and I know you had to deal with grief. You've spoken about that, but how does it feel to go to these crime scenes and you see people who are still dealing with the same exact pain? Speak a little bit about your grief, still dealing with the murder of your son, and then also how it feels to go to those crime scenes now.
Yeah, my son Antonio Thompson was only 26 years old when he was murdered Thanksgiving Eve, 2011. It basically destroyed me. But I knew I had to help someone in my community. And just thinking back of this 10 years I've been going to homicide scenes, which it'll be 12 years this year for his death. It is unsolved. And I feel like my community has let me down, has let so many other people down too. Of the grief, you don't get over, you learn to live and heal through the process. And that's what I've been doing. It's for a lot of programs here in KC Mothers in Charge. And my first program I started was Hope and Healing. I want to speak life into the healing process. So we do that every third Thursday here at KC Mothers in Charge. We call over 300, 400 families weekly that's been victimized by homicide, have lost a child, a loved one. Do we get over our grief? No, we don't get over it. Every time I go to a homicide scene, to a family, does it re-traumatize me? Yes, but it helps me through my pain to help someone else. Because it's things that wasn't there for me in 2011 when my baby was killed. And you think about Thanksgiving Eve, it comes, every Thanksgiving comes every year, and I just think about every year it comes. Do I relive that day? Yes, I do. And it was a leap year. that son was killed. And I just know that no mother or father should have buried their child. And so my pain to help someone else is helping me live and heal through my pain.
You know, I love that. And I see the emotion that is still here with you all the years later. And, you know, I know the community appreciates what you are doing for them when you come to the crime scenes, when you're there for them, when they go to the funeral homes or when they go to the funeral. So I know that they appreciate that so much. And obviously, like I mentioned, there has been an uptick in crime here locally. What do you think needs to be done to curb the violence in our community?
It's a community problem. It's a community problem. And for me as a Black mother, my son was a Black young man. We have a Black on Black problem. All lives matter. Until we address us as people of color, Black people, ain't too much going to change. Yes, other races get murdered, die, but I go back into it, 74 Black young males been killed this year. 11 Black females, 9 white males, 4 white females, and 6 Hispanics. And so you add them numbers up and you tell them who have the problem. We have the problem. We have to stop killing each other as people of color. We have to learn how to deal with each other, to disagree, to agree. In our communities, like I said, our community it's a community problem. So we'll police our own communities. We want to put everything on the police department. Every organization have their own problem. Police department have their own problem. But as our homicide spike at 105 homicides right now in the inner city, Kansas City, it is our problem. It is a community problem. We have to take back our community and say we had enough. And when we mean we had enough, to address us.
And you all are definitely addressing the problem actively right now. And I touched on that a little bit, but can you just touch on the fact that I know you made it your goal for this year to really focus on curbing the violence at the beginning of 2023 throughout the year. Touch a little bit more on that.
So we've been canvassing, we go on Prospect is one of our main inner city street avenues. So we go out from Prospect for 27 by the East Patrol Police Department. We stay on the 4 corners. And we do it to the weekend because people would detour. So people get off of work, they want to go home, straight home, and they're not going to do too much detouring. So we out there with signs, making noise, and people honk. Before we get in our cars, we've been doing this for years now. People notice us. They know we're doing. We address. We let them know where we at in our bodies. We want our bodies to stop. So we do from 27th to Prospect out to 59th and Prospect. We do this, and then we canvass in the community, in the neighborhoods. We go to door. We knock on doors, and we give our door hangers. We explain the QR code, Crime Stoppers, how it is anonymous, $25,000 reward fund. Anybody that turns someone in, it is anonymous displaying. We put the QR code on every form that we have here at KC Mothers in Charge. Any flyer, we have it on our brochure where people can, and we talk about it. We educate them how they can do it because we have to get these people off our streets. And like I said, we do a lot of speaking engagement, do speaking in prisons and talk about our stories and what we don't want to allow you to come home or you be murdered or you come home, you commit another murder, you could commit another violent crime in our community. So we're out here, we're addressing these issues. I'm speaking everywhere. I just think that until we step out of comfort zone and realize no one is exempt from being murdered or shot or violent crime in our community, and get these people off our community. It's more good people in Kansas City than bad people.
Mm-hmm. And so for the people who are at home or the people who are at work, all of our viewers right now, and all of our viewers who will join a little bit later, how can they get involved? How can they help you all in the community as you try to curb the violence?
We are begging for volunteers. Mm-hmm. And volunteers to come and just help us do the work. But I'm begging for mothers And a mother, for a core mother, help me do the work. You don't have to be victimized by homicide. I really prefer that you haven't lost someone. But the mothers that have lost a child definitely need you all to come in to help us do the work. Sign up and go on our website, go to kcmothersincharge.org, and call our office at 816-912-2601. We're at the Mohawk Legal Multipurpose Center in Suite 124 West. We're here in the community. Just please, or you can log on to our social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. We need support. We need help, volunteers to help us do this work. Because it's thousands of mothers and fathers have been victimized here in Kansas City, have lost a child or loved one. We need the help.
No, for sure. So there's all of the information there for all of our viewers who are actively looking for a way to get involved with you all. And I appreciate you taking the time to join me here at the live desk. But Rosalynn, before I let you go, is there anything else that you want to let our community know before we log off here?
We are canvassing on Thursday in the Blue Hill, along with the Blue Hills Neighborhood Association. We will start at 55th and Park. We're knocking on doors. If you'd like to be a part, we need help. We're walking from 55th and Park all the way around to 55th and Garfield. That's been a high area. That's by the other mass shooting we had on 56 in Prospect. We want people to come out. If you want to be a part of this canvassing, contact us at kcmothersincharge.org or call our office 816-912-2601. But we have our Unity Awards, and it's our partners that help. We do every year on October 25th. We have tickets on sale for $50. Come and support KC Mothers in Charge. We need your help. No one is exempt from losing anyone, a child, anyone to homicide in our community.
And Rosalynn, again, I do want to thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk. I think that this conversation is timely as we continue to see an uptick in violence in our community as well as across the country. I know I mentioned it earlier, but I want to say it again. KCPD reported as of today, there are 105 homicides so far this year. Again, we are only in the 7th month of 2023, and that's where we are. I know when we ended the month of 2022, we were not too far ahead. So we are not on the right track, but I know KC Mothers in Charge, they are actively trying to change that in our community. So thank you so much, Rosalynn, for being a part of that and really starting this organization. Again, I am Janae Hancock here at the live desk, and I will continue to bring you your top stories throughout the day today. So make sure to join me here at the live desk, and make sure you have your KCTV5 notifications turned on. So download the KCTV5 News app. Again, I'm Janae Hancock. I'm going to leave you all with this live shot overlooking Kansas City right now.